Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, second and third graders. Welcome to your reading lesson and reading strategy for the week to help make us better readers. Now, the strategy we're going to work on this week is something that is often done at the end of a book. If you think back, and I'll give you a couple seconds just to think in your head about it, what often do we do when we finish a book? Whether it's a book that you're reading on your own or a book that we read as a class that I read to you, or a book that we read as a group, like our weekly stories that we have. What's something common that we do once we finish that story? Hopefully, if you're thinking about it, what I'm getting at, and there are a lot of things we do, so whatever you thought of is probably a correct answer in some way, shape, or form. But questioning and questions is what I was thinking of, or what I was getting at. You finish a personal book, oftentimes you take an AR test. We finish our weekly story that we read as a class, and we've got some questions to answer on a Friday quiz that we take on it, but we answer questions. But what I'm here to talk to you guys about this week is not waiting until the end of the book to ask or answer questions. This is something as readers that we should do all the time throughout a book. While we finish a page, when we finish a chapter, things that we should be thinking about. Because when we do this, the reason we answer questions like in an AR test is to see what we remember and what we know. But if we can do that after every chapter instead of just at the end, by the time we get to the end of the book, we'll know a lot more and remember a lot more. And we might look deeper into the story and figure some things out before the story tells us. So our format for questioning while we read, and in particular while we listen to Dragon in the Sock Drawer, looks like this. W, 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 H. And here's what it stands for. And you guys may have heard this. First W is for who. Second W is for what. Third W is for when. Last W is for why. And if you're predicting or guessing on the H, it is for how. Now, if we can ask these 5 questions, every chapter, something, could be anything, and that's the fun part about this is it's not structured like an AR test where we have to answer this specific question with this specific answer. We get to ask the questions, we get to make the questions. So we can do whatever we want with it. But it'll give you deeper meaning of your story as you read. And this is going to be something that you have for an assignment this week that you have to either do. You can choose. I'll open up a Flipgrid where you ask a who, a what, a when, a why, and a how question on something that's happened in Dragon in the Driveway, things that have happened in Dragon in the Driveway, all the chapters through. Or if you'd prefer not to do Flipgrid, you can always do a writing, either handwritten or on a computer in a Google Doc or an email. I'll leave that up to you. But this is going to be an assignment that goes throughout our week. So it's either 5 sentences written, or you can get on Flipgrid and talk it out. I'll give you a little bit of extra time. If you choose Flipgrid, which I have a feeling a lot of you will, what I challenge you to do for an extension is wait, and if you post your questions on Wednesday, check back on Thursday and see what other questions that other students have posted, and maybe give them what you think the answer to their question might be. Now, a lot of the questions we may not have answers to yet. Questions that I have, and just to give you an example, try not to use my questions when you do your own. Try to think of your own. I'm thinking about right now, who is going to be the person that finds the gold pickaxe? Right now the kids are looking for the gold pickaxe. They're not sure where it is. Who's going to be the one that actually finds it? Now, there could be other questions about the gold pickaxe, but that's mine. Who's going to be the one who finds it? My what question is going to be, what does Emmy do to help? Now, we found out at the end of our last chapter, the professor wanted Emmy to stay in the garage, but I think she's going to help some way. What is she going to do to help? That's my question. My when question is going to be, when is St. George gone for good? He seems to keep going away and popping back up, get beaten, and when is he going to be gone for good? Will it happen in this book, or will he continue to even more books and after the story is finished? My why question is, why does the computer always have to fizzle out and burn out when the kids talk to Dr. Anderson? Why can't it just be a normal conversation? Why does the computer have to do that? That's something that I don't understand and want to think and know more about. And my how is, how do the kids plan to keep Emmy in the garage as she keeps on growing? How do they plan on keep feeding her? How do they plan to keep having a bed for her as she gets even bigger than she is now, as she's pretty big? How are they going to do that? So those are my 5 questions that I came up with. And I'll try and maybe rethink about those and repost those in Flipgrid too, and you guys can give me your answers. But take some time, think of your own questions, try and think before you post so that you're not thinking too long on video. So try and come up with your questions and then hit play when you do it, okay? And if you need to redo your video a couple times because you got stuck, or if you need to write some notes down, you can do that too. Or you can just do your Google Doc and send that to me also. But that is your assignment that I want done for this week, is to think about those who, what, when, why, and how questions from our story this week, and post that to Flipgrid or write and send those to me from Dragon in the Driveway. And then my hope is on Flipgrid or through Google Docs we can communicate and maybe give some answers before we find it out, before our book ends within the next 3 or 4 chapters. All right? Good luck with your assignment. I can't wait to see all your questions and the ideas that you have about what you're wondering from our book. Have a good day.